Hello everyone, Joe Session here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something I've really been looking forward to. Shining a spotlight on those jazz albums that somehow slipped under the radar. You know exactly the kind of records I mean. The deep cuts, the overlooked gems, and the sessions that deserve way more attention than they get. So the theme today is 10 brilliant jazz records you've never heard. There are some absolute beauties in this lineup and I cannot wait to share them with you. But before we dive in, this isn't a definitive top 10 list. This is simply a collection of records that I think are fantastic and worth your time. If your favourite album didn't make the list, that says nothing about its quality. Jazz has endless treasures. In fact, I'd love it if you share your favourite jazz albums in the comments down below. Right, let's get into the first album. We're going to kick things off with Hank Mobley's album No Room for Squares from 1964. Yes, we're starting with Hank Mobley. And honestly, if I could bottle the sound of Blue Note in the 60s, this album would be right there in the mix. No Room for Squares captures Mobley at his most confident and angular, with that warm, melodic tone he was famous for, but sharpened by a slightly more modern edge. The lineup alone tells you what type of session this is. Lee Morgan and Donald Byrd swapping trumpet duties, Andrew Hill and Herbie Hancock alternating on piano. That's a ridiculous amount of talent in one room. This record sits at a beautiful intersection. Not quite hard bop in the classic sense, not fully avant-leaning, but pushing outward. The title track, which is my favourite from this album, is one of Mobley's tightest tunes. Punchy, slightly cheeky, and full of forward motion. It's incredible that a record this good isn't constantly talked about. That's Mobley's whole career really. Consistent brilliance, hiding in plain sight. The second album I want to talk about today is Max Roach's Members Don't Get Weary from 1968. This is one of those albums that completely resituates your understanding of a musician. Roach was always pushing boundaries, but this one blends soul, spiritual jazz, political expression, and advanced harmonic ideas in a way that feels decades ahead. My favourite track, Effie, is just gorgeous, full of space, shimmering harmony, and this elegant, almost floating rhythmic feel. Charles Tolliver and Gary Bartz sound phenomenal throughout, and Andy Bay's vocal feature on the title track gives the album this deep, emotional core. It's a record that doesn't shout, it glows. Deep, thoughtful, and beautifully constructed. Next is an album by George Cables named Why Not from 1975. George Cables is one of those musicians that everyone in the jazz world respects, but somehow doesn't get the broader recognition he deserves. Why Not is a prime example of why he should. This trio record with Tony Dumas on bass and Carl Burnett on drums is pure elegance. It's got that mid-70s post-bop feel. Crisp, warm, harmonically rich, but never showy. My favourite track, Ebony Moonbeams, is just an achingly beautiful tune. It's lyrical, hopeful, and one of the most singable melodies Cables ever wrote. If you enjoy piano trio records that balance sophistication with emotional clarity, this is a must. Now we have an album from Sonny Clark named Leapin and Lopin from 1962. Sonny Clark's final studio album as a leader, Leapin and Lopin, is a gem. This is the sound of a musician who found his voice. Confident, witty, rhythmically sharp, harmonically precise. Tommy Turrentine and Charlie Rouse add a beautiful frontline chemistry, with Butch Warren and Billy Higgins holding everything together like a finely tuned engine. The track Voodoo is my favourite and it's one of Clark's best compositions. Quirky, playful, slightly mysterious, and full of rhythmic twists. It's the kind of tune that gets stuck in your head for days. Every jazz pianist should study this album. It's a masterclass in taste. Now we have the Sam Rivers album named Fuchsia Swing Song from 1965. Sam Rivers is often associated with the avant-garde, but this early Blue Note record shows just how wide his range really was. Fuchsia Swing Song sits perfectly between post-bop and free jazz, structured but with room to expand and explore. Rivers' playing is fiery and unpredictable, yet incredibly controlled. Jackie Bayard, Ron Carter, and Tony Williams make up a rhythm section that is basically a dream team of creativity. The standout track for me is the title track, which is a whirlwind, bold, abstract, and bursting with energy. If you want to hear the 1960s musical boundaries stretching in real time, this is the album. Now we have the Horace Silver album named The Cape Verdean Blues from 1966. Horace Silver had a knack for blending genres, and the Cape Verdean Blues is a perfect example. Soulful hard bop infused with the rhythms and melodies of Cape Verdean music, which Silver grew up hearing from his father. The horn lineup, including Woody Shaw, Joe Henderson, and J.J. Johnson, feels almost unfair. Each musician brings depth and personality, and Silver's compositions give them room to shine. Nutville is my favourite track, driving, percussive, and full of that Silver swagger. It's one of his most exciting tunes, and this performance absolutely cooks. Next, we have an album by Pete LaRocca named Basra from 1965. Basra is a haunting, atmospheric, almost hypnotic record. One of the finest Blue Note albums of the 60s, full stop. Pete LaRocca was a unique drummer, blending subtlety with an almost painterly sense of texture. Joe Henderson is the melodic anchor, delivering one of his most introspective performances. Steve Coon's piano adds an icy, floating quality, and Steve Swallow's bass lines are beautifully lyrical. My standout track, Tears Come From Heaven, showcases everything this album does well: mood, nuance, and emotional depth. It's a record that rewards repeated listening. Every spin reveals something new. Now we have Nat Adderley's album named Calling Out Loud from 1969. This one is criminally overlooked. Calling Out Loud is Nat Adderley exploring a broader, more orchestral sound, with arrangements full of woodwinds, horns, and electric textures. It's lush, cinematic, and often unexpected. Joe Zawinul's electric piano adds a futuristic touch. Remember, this is 1969, and Ron Carter and Leo Morris create this deep, grounded groove underneath. Coming Out the Shadows is my favourite track. Moody, soulful, almost soundtrack-like. If you've never heard Nat in this kind of setting before, this album will be a really pleasant surprise. Next, we have Dexter Gordon and Slide Hampton, A Day in Copenhagen from 1969. This collaborative session recorded in Denmark is pure joy from start to finish. Dexter Gordon was in fantastic form during his European years. Relaxed, swinging, full of humour, and Slide Hampton's arrangements bring focus and structure without losing that loose, live feel. Dizzy Reese shines, Kenny Drew is impeccable, and Niels Henning Orsted Pedersen brings that remarkable precision and drive he was known for. His playing on this record is incredibly supportive, but still full of personality. Exactly what the session needs. The track My Blues stands out because it's so full of character. Earthy, confident, and delivered with that classic Dexter tone that makes you feel like you're having a conversation with an old friend. The final album for today is by Joe Pass and it's named For Django from 1964. We finish with a guitar masterpiece. For Django is Joe Pass paying tribute to Django Reinhardt, but not by imitation. Instead, he channels Django through his own modern technique. With John Pisano on second guitar, Jim Hughart on bass, and Colin Bailey on drums, the group achieves a perfect blend of swing, clarity, and warmth. The title track for Django is breathtaking, lyrical, intricate, and deeply respectful without ever feeling nostalgic. It's a perfect example of how to honor a legend while still sounding completely like yourself. If you love jazz guitar, this album is essential. And there you have it, 10 brilliant jazz records that deserve way more love. If you've heard any of these, let me know your thoughts down below. And if you've got recommendations of your own, especially deep cuts, I'd love to hear them. This channel thrives on discovery. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. It really does help the channel. Also, remember to subscribe so that you can stay up to date with my latest uploads. If you want to continue hanging out with me here on the channel, I'll pop a video in the corner for you to click on now. Other than that, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.